I just don't think it can go that high, folks. That's probably 16 foot. I'm guessing. Oh,
Hold on. I think
that's
I got
16
enough
foot
leak.
in the air.
I think I have enough leak.
It's, with the water leaking, it's only pumping 16 foot or better in the air. Okay, folks, what this is an aquaponics air-driven water pump. And I've ran this one for 12 years off of less than 4 pounds of pressure. It will squirt water 14 feet in the air, and it pumps a tremendous amount of water. Well, I'm going to show you how to make this pump yourself. And if you want to use it without electricity in your pond where you keep the air pump, you could put it maybe 100, 200 feet away in a shed where the electricity is and run a water hose for your air line to it. That way you get more air pressure too, or capacity by storage in that hose. And you don't have any worry about electrocution, having something electric in your pond. And it's all run on air, so it never clogs up. And if you ever put one of those pumps, like a regular electric pump, down in a well, down into a pond, it will just clog up with all kinds of weeds and everything. You got to clean it every year. This will pump weeds right through it, and it never clogs. And it's a simple system. It's got a one-way valve. It's got two 45s. It has a T, and then it has a elbow that sends it to the surface. I put a strainer on the end for leaves and various animals not to get in it, and it goes through the one-way valve. When it goes up here, the air pushes in, it tries to go backwards, and it closes the valve for a brief second, and then there's an explosion when the air pressure gets so high, it blows it out this top right here. Air goes in here, water comes out here. One-way valve makes it like a water hammer, and if you've ever turned the water off and on in your house and had a water hammer, that's what basically this does. With that water hammer pressure, it shoots it out of here at pretty good size amount of speed, so it really works. And I kept it in a fish pond for 12 years and it works. So we're building another and showing you how to do it. I've got the demonstrator right here.
But Dad, how can you have PVC pipe if you're running air pressure? I mean, that's a lot of pressure for PVC.
Not when you're talking 2.8 pounds is what this runs on.
He's running on like a large aquarium air compressor, not like your
Not
one.
a 120-pound one. We're talking less than 4 pounds of pressure. Your tires in your car are 30 pounds, and you could run this off of 2.8. Now, I have cheated and run it off of 4, get a little more pressure. But you don't have to, I mean, it'll handle much more pressure than that, 10, 12 pounds probably. But I know what they say about them, but this isn't any kind of pressure.
In fact, the pressure's so low, we have to take the spring out of our one-way valve.
If you don't take the spring out, it won't overcome the pressure of this valve. See, it moves freely now, and only the air makes it move back and forth. With the spring in there, it wouldn't do that. So you have to take the spring out of the one-way valve. Save it in case you want to use it for something else later. And you can put these together with just grip fitting without gluing them, and it will work. If you're going to move it, you might have some other thing that might have to move it around or something, you may want to glue it. But if you don't glue it, then you take it apart, clean it, reuse it if you wish with many, many times without worrying about losing any fittings from glue. Okay, he's going to put it together here, and there's certain parts that really, really important.
You always start at one side, and we're going to start at the very back. We're going to get a strainer, an adapter, mainly because this is what we had. You could do it probably with less pieces if you thought a little bit farther ahead. Maybe a slip one, this slip. But we're slipping back to a thread and putting it in the valve. Now the valve direction is written on the side. It's very important. And which way does it go, Dad?
It goes where the arrow points towards where the water will go out. In other words, this is the end that this would screw in where the water comes in it. It comes in at high pressure, low pressure, comes in here, goes up through there, and this arrow is pointing that way and goes towards where it exhausts it.
Arrow shoots where you want the water to go.
If it doesn't work, you've got the one-way valve in backwards. And you notice it kind of points with this angle here on the valve, so you kind of know which way to put it.
Again, we went to slip, thread to slip.
And those are 45 degrees. Now, I do not know why, but without those 42-degree angles, the pressure doesn't work as well. When you put the 45s in there, with this level, and it comes up 45, you get a tremendous amount more efficiency out of it. I do not have a scientific reason for that, or any reason, scientific or other.
We're going to add our T. And our elbow. We'll just finish the big side. Our adapter.
Now the adapter can be 1 inch, it could be 1/2 inch. If you use the smaller pipe, then the height of the water will go up higher. So if you use a 1/2 inch pipe, you might get 14, 15 feet out of it. If you use a 1 inch pipe, you may not get quite that height.
And we chose this pipe because it's what we had. We're going to adapt this down to a...
We're using a water hose, and this is a female adapter that you can get at Home Depot or any of the Lowe's, any of those. It's simply a PVC female adapter. That way you can hook your water hose in here, because airline can get expensive, and you can buy a hose pretty cheap, and you could make it maybe 100 or 200 feet long. It doesn't matter. And then put your air pump inside a shed protected where the electricity is. Then everything out here is simply air, so it won't freeze. We've run it winter and summer. It doesn't freeze up on you, and it doesn't clog on you, because it'll go through that one-way valve. And we've pumped solids out of that. A couple fish too by mistake when we didn't have that end on it. The reason for the end is fish do not like to be squirted high in the air. They do not fly. You might write that down. The fish cannot fly. They float but not fly. And then on this, we can show another collector at a later time to where we put the water squirts out of here. It can collect in a collector and then come out with a fitting so it runs all the time. Otherwise, this goes at kind of a pulse. But you can put an adapter on it, a T, and I'll show how to do that in a later video.
So our burp pump.
Oh,
Hold on.
that's 16 foot in the air.
I think I have enough leak.
With the water leaking, it's only pumping 16 foot or better in the air.
Hey, what is that pump? How many pounds of pressure is that pump?
That's less than 4 pounds.